Among all strokes, backstroke places the greatest premium on finesse. This means that improving your backstroke can help make you a better swimmer all around. As you gain efficiency on your back, all your strokes will improve, but especially your freestyle. On this DVD, Total Immersion founder Terry Laughlin demonstrates backstroke for boomers, a style that's ideal for swimmers of any age or those who may be less flexible. TI coach Hash Al-Mashat demonstrates speed backstroke, an advanced style for those who may be younger or more athletic. And finally, several Total Immersion coaches show you how they practice our drill sequence. Our step-by-step instruction will lead you almost effortlessly from the most basic drill to swimming the whole stroke comfortably and without fatigue, and give you the foundation to swim with unprecedented speed and power. You'll learn faster and easier if you take the time to thoroughly understand each step. Learn to do each skill with ease, flow, and coordination before moving to the next. Let's begin learning. Hi, I'm Terry Laughlin. We're at my home pool, which is a 35-foot pool with a fast lane, meaning I don't need a 25-yard pool to practice skills. And we're going to do a backstroke lesson today. I like backstroke because it's relaxing. I really feel good when I swim it. I feel more slippery than in any other stroke. Another reason to like backstroke is you can breathe anytime you want, which is unique among all the strokes. We're going to show you how to improve your backstroke via a fairly simple series of skill drills. Each one will put in one part of the whole stroke and this whole skill, and we'll explain what each one does as we go through. As in all the strokes, the key to swimming efficiently in backstroke is to stay in your most hydrodynamic position for as long as you can in each stroke cycle. And then when you do the propulsive phase, to do that as quickly as you can and then get back to your most hydrodynamic position. In freestyle, that position is skating down a track. In backstroke, it's similarly being on a track like this when your body is long, fully extended from head to toe, aligned, and slightly rotated with your shoulder just out of the water. You're the most slippery that you can be, and what we'll work on is showing you how to stay in that position for a fairly long time, and then when you take the stroke to move quickly to the same position. Our first step in the skill building process is to learn the backstroke balance position. And the first thing we'll think about here is relaxing back into the water until you feel the water support you. When you relax back, you want the water to wrap around your face. In doing this backstroke balance position, I'm going to think first about shaping myself a little bit like a canoe. So I'm going to slightly round my shoulders. I'm going to have my hands on the fronts of my thighs, and I'm going to relax back until the water wraps around my face. I'll be kicking gently as I do this. I practice this to create a stable body position and relaxed rotation. I focus on having quiet water around my face and holding my head steady. Keeping your hands on your front thighs improves your alignment. Practice with these focal points. Relax your head and shoulders into the water until your hips feel light. Rotate just enough to feel air on one shoulder. Kick gently on each side long enough to imprint balance, alignment, and relaxation like this. Feel as if you're being towed by a line at your head. Your streamlined legs rotate with your body. The next step in practicing your balance position is to make it active balance. So you spend a little bit of time balancing on one side with the right hip touching the surface, and then you rotate until the left hip touches the surface and stay there long enough to know that you feel stable and feel balanced. And the focus here is on, as easily as you can, bring one hip to the surface, feel good there, then bring the other hip to the surface, feel good there. Each time you rotate, do it with the idea of touching the other hip to the surface. Avoid disturbing the water as you do. As your ease and control improve, you can rotate more frequently. Plan on plenty of practice to develop a strong foundation for the next exercise. Now that I have a good sense of balance with my arms at my sides, and I can maintain that balance while putting some rotation into it, I'm going to introduce the recovery. So I'm going to bring my arm out of the water. And my focus in doing so is to feel just as stable in the water, just as well supported as my arm comes overhead and into the water here. I'm going to have my right hip at the surface. As I bring my arm over, I'm going to touch my left hip to the surface at the same moment my hand goes into the water overhead. This teaches you to remain balanced and streamlined while bringing a hand overhead. I don't lift my arm until I feel comfortable. I follow tracks in the air as I lift. I pause again until I feel balanced, then return the arm to my side. Practice with these focal points. Keep a rock-steady body position as you lift your arm. Have quiet water around your face at all times. Next, follow a track in the air with your hand. Keep a small gap between your shoulder and ear. Slice the hand in cleanly, pinky first and palm out. Connect your arm movement to body rotation. Your right hip should touch the surface as your left hand enters. Your left hip touches the surface as that hand finishes. Practice with long pauses in each position until you can stay stable and balanced at all times. When you can hit each balance position smoothly and synchronize hand and hip consistently, you can rotate more frequently. Do this as a balance and coordination drill until all those elements are no-brainers. When they are, you can begin practicing it as a propulsion drill too. When you do, your goal is to stroke this way. Face your hand toward your feet as soon as possible. Arm wrestle the first half of your stroke. Throw at your feet the second half. Hosh is demonstrating a good way to add value to your streamline position practice. Once your balance is solid, activate your hand this way, repeatedly sculling it to the catch position. This imprints how you'll position your hand before stroking. Backstroke switch drills help connect your stroke to core power and improve your stroke timing. In order to be able to maintain my most slippery position for a little bit longer in each stroke cycle, what I'm going to try to do is learn timing where I stay here until this hand is moved at least 30 degrees and then quickly move to my slippery position on the other side. So I'll begin to develop this skill by just practicing my streamline position and raising my hand off the water a little bit. I don't have to go to 30 degrees right away. I can go a little bit less, just a little bit off the water, see if I'm stable there, and then return it. If I'm stable there, then I can bring it up a little bit higher, and gradually until I've reached at least 30 degrees. Some people can raise it a little bit higher than that. This exercise prepares you for switch drills by teaching you to maintain balance as you overlap your recovery arm with the one about to stroke. Good balance and streamline position is essential to doing this comfortably. Relaxing my head and shoulders back lets me lift my arm without sinking. If I remain stable while I lift my arm, I'll be able to wait until this moment in my recovery to begin my stroke. I try to stay as relaxed as possible while holding my arm aloft. Notice how Hosh's alignment and rotation are unchanged when his hand is in the air. A stable body position is more important than a higher hand position or holding it there longer. If you don't feel stable, don't lift as high or hold as long. This is my favorite way to practice backstroke kicking. When you've achieved good control while lifting either arm, add a switch as Hosh does here. Do several partial recoveries, then switch sides when your hand reaches the point you've been lifting to. Call this your switch point. This will quickly imprint proper switch timing on both sides. Leave your extended hand motionless and your body stable until your hand reaches the switch point on the full recovery. Doing 3 lifts, then a switch, will help you more quickly sense your best switch point. When you feel it, do just 1 lift before each switch. In the 1-and-1, I focus on being smooth and controlled as I stroke and switch sides. Once I'm consistently smooth, I focus on synchronizing my 2 arms. The critical timing here is to feel your hands pass each other at the shoulders. This will help you feel like both arms are connected across your shoulder blades, helping link core power to your stroke. As I did on the previous drills, on the backstroke switch drill, I'll increase the rhythm or frequency by not spending so long in my balance position in between. So now what I'll do is, as soon as my left hip reaches the surface, that left hand will start to come out of the water. All right? I'm going to bring it out slowly. I'm going to wait with my right hand, but I won't wait here. I'll start coming out as soon as my left hip reaches the surface. I begin each stroke aiming to finish up at my switch point rather than at my hip. This puts a lot of energy in the finish and exit, but I strive to reach the switch point smoothly. I pause there briefly, then resume recovery. This is another good challenge to your control and coordination. This is a highly advanced switch drill. It might take months or years to fully master its coordination. If you remove the pause at the switch point, you'll be doing catch-up switch. Do the first half of your recovery as slowly as you can while being patient with the other hand. Focus on holding a long, aligned, and slightly rotated body line until you reach the switch point. Then rotate briskly to your most hydrodynamic position on the other side. This will imprint a slight degree of overlap in your timing. It will also connect your arms to the power of the core. And finally, if I take out any pauses at all, I'm just swimming regular backstroke, whole stroke. At age 55 and lacking any special backstroke talent, I swim a style I call backstroke for boomers, striving for comfort, efficiency, and an improving sensitivity to the water. To improve balance, I relax back until my hips and legs feel light. When my balance is good, I have quiet water around my face and little or no splash. I try to recover in a straight line from exit to entry and slice my hand in, pinky first. As I rotate, I try to keep a straight line from the top of my head to my toes. Turning my palm down after entry helps me trap the water better. I try to keep holding the water firmly as I turn my palm toward my feet. To improve rotation, I focus on rhythmically driving each hip toward the surface and feeling each shoulder clear the water. This view shows the stroke's down-up-down pattern. After viewing this, I'll be working on getting a bit more out of the finish on each stroke. Ash, being 25 years younger and a more natural backstroker, demonstrates a more efficient and fluent style. Like me, he rotates around his head-spine line. He holds the water more effectively on his catch and finishes a bit farther down his body. In a strong current, notice how the water passes close around his face and how patiently he begins his stroke, especially his left hand. Here you can see how much he rotates around the head-spine line. From this angle, you can see how his elbow bends after catch, yet his hands remain a constant distance from his body throughout the stroke. And finally, Here you can see how his arms pass each other at the shoulders, connecting to the core across the shoulder blades. Combining backstroke and freestyle can help both strokes. Long axis combo is great for improving your alignment and rotation. The first key skill is to keep your head-spine line as straight as a laser while rotating between strokes. The second key skill is to stay tall between strokes. Leave your extended arm in place as you rotate nose down to begin freestyle strokes, and as you rotate up again to begin backstroking. Hosh is silky smooth as he rotates to each side. He rotates just enough to feel air on one shoulder, then on the other. Notice how stable Laura's shoulder is on each side. Her head remains perfectly still as well, even as she changes sides. Shinji really relaxes back into the water. Hosh follows tracks in the air as his arm comes overhead. He takes his time beginning each stroke. And his hand always enters the water just outside his shoulder. Laura patiently sets herself in sweet spot before recovering her arm. And she finishes her stroke with her shoulder rotating clear of the water, back into sweet spot. Here we can see her hand entering just inside her shoulder. She'll work on moving that a bit wider. Shinji is rotating a bit more than necessary, which may be why his face sometimes dips under. It's enough to have each shoulder barely clear the surface. Dave also brings his hand a bit behind his head, but his rotation is just right. Dave maintains a very stable body position, which is difficult with your arm pointing straight up. This lower arm angle will be sufficient for most swimmers. Laura's body rotation never changes, no matter where her arm is. Shinji is also lifting to a higher angle than you will probably want to try. Notice how relaxed Hosh's lifted hand is. It's a good habit to develop. This is a good follow-up to the partial lift. Hosh is relaxed and rhythmic. He's not in any hurry, but he moves the stroking arm directly into recovery. Laura also transitions smoothly to recovery. And she shows great coordination between her two arms. Dave shows how this drill connects you to core body power. In this sequence, Hosh begins with a very slow and patient switch, and gradually makes his switch more energetic and dynamic. Laura works on consistent timing in her switches. Dave starts the switch slowly, then accelerates his hand into a clean entry. Hosh has a clean entry and patient catch. He also has great symmetry between his arms. His smooth stroke creates hardly any bow wave. Laura creates a consistent overlap between her arms, a good focal point for low-speed swimming. And she rotates just enough to clear each shoulder. At this angle, you can see how low to the water her head is. Reducing the splash on her kick would help her relax still more. Shinji relaxes back and keeps his head still. His left hand should enter more like his right. Here, he enters both hands pinky first and rotates just enough to clear each shoulder. By entering behind his head, Dave has to push water to the side at the beginning of his stroke. Like our other coaches, Dave lays low and barely creates any bow wave. Good luck and have fun practicing backstroke the total immersion way. Take the time at each step to really understand how to work with the water, and you'll learn faster and swim better. Happy laps!